Welcome back, everybody, to Two Deans and No Waiting. My name is Dean, and here filling in for the other Dean is...
Kaz.
Welcome back, Kaz. It's a privilege to have you. We have so many things happening. You know, everything happens in so quick, so fast.
It certainly does.
And you have something to say you're talking about before we went on, and if you want to start with what you have to...
Absolutely, but first of all, I would like to thank you again, Dean. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here at your show. I hope my voice is good. I've been terribly sick for the last 2 weeks. I have huge allergies, and I think I had too much fun at gay camp. I think me and Dean, we might have went behind the tree once or twice.
So now we're all under homo suspicion. Thank you very much.
So let me scoot this mic.
This could be your last time on the show after you said that. I'm going to have to really disinfect everything. So go ahead. You have a few things you'd like to talk about.
So I would like to talk about how Epstein did kill himself. So
of course, everybody should know that. I mean, you got to be a really degenerate not to believe that this guy hung himself with toilet paper.
Right.
Who the fuck hangs himself with toilet paper?
So Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, who both work for the FBI, Kash Patel, does he not look like deer in the headlights look all the time?
Kash Patel should be working somewhere else, if you know what I mean.
If he doesn't think and know that the American people, this isn't 1984 anymore.
I know.
We don't believe the mainstream. It's the dinosaur legacy. And that sounds like dinosaur legacy stuff to me. If they actually think that we believe he committed suicide, are you serious?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Next thing you're going to tell me, I'm going to believe in the magic bullet.
Right.
I'm going to believe in building
Santa Claus
being burned down by what? Fire? Come on.
I know.
More people are awake.
So the part of the MAGA crew is very upset that they said this, and obviously there's something going on here. They're being controlled, because before everybody was on board. That Epstein did not kill himself.
Of course.
So let's do a quick review. Let's go back to how all this got started. And if you remember,
before you go on and hold that thought, now you know that what I like about the MAGA crew is there are a lot that are like, wait a minute, this is phony baloney.
Right.
This is bullshit. And they know, because a lot of them are 9/11 people. They know it was an inside job. They're part of the 9/11 truth movement and the Fed. So now they're like starting to question. This is what you're saying.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
So this goes back to when Trump was running for president the first time, which goes all the way back to March of 2016 when Pizzagate got started. Do you remember that? And that had to do with the Clinton emails, and that's how all that got started.
Right.
And that's when the MAGA group started showing up, and they started voicing their opinion about what was going on at that specific island, Epstein Island, and all the nasty stuff that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was one of Trump's slogans in 2016, was the Pizzagate against Hillary Clinton. But why is this so important today? And I'm going to tell you why.
Why would they come out and, like I said, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the other Dean knows I interrupt all the time. So
No, you're fine. I mean, there's no interruptions.
This is the thing that really bugs me, is
Kash Patel
should know that the mega people are not the legacy media people. Most of them are awake and in tune to what's going on.
Right.
All of us know that Epstein did not kill himself.
Yes,
he was murdered.
Yes. So this goes back to Trump's original slogan of wanting to put Hillary Clinton in jail 2016 through 2020. She was tied into the Pizzagate very, very big.
Which didn't happen. She didn't go to jail.
And exactly, it didn't happen. So why is it so important? 9 years later, Trump is president again. And Hillary Clinton is still not in jail. And the MAGA people make excuses for it. It's coming. Don't you worry, it's coming. It's coming.
That hasn't happened, but I mean, there are things that are happening right now in real time. And one thing that's very interesting is the Biden administration. The last thing I need is the Democratic Party to tell me about the Constitution when they sat there for fucking 8 years and watched the Bush-Cheney crime syndicate dismantle the Constitution with the Patriot Act, the National Defense Authorization Act, the John Warner Authorization Act, and Building 7 and 9/11 and everything else you can think of. And they sat there like a deer in headlights and didn't do anything. The endless wars, 2008, nobody was arrested. Goldman Sachs bankrupt the whole freaking world. And what did the Democrats do? Nothing. Now they're going to talk about the Constitution and what Trump is doing? Okay, you had 8 years of not doing anything to the Bush-Cheney crime syndicate. They're the last party I want to hear about corruption because they know all about it. And since I'm on that topic, the Biden administration's last 5 months, or even before that, $93 billion were stolen from the Department of Energy. Yes, what did the Democrats do about that? Nothing. Which party is more corrupted? That's my question.
Well, it's a uniparty.
No, of course, it is.
It's the uniparty.
And they do protect each other. As Jesse Ventura said, I'm an independent.
Well,
I'm an independent. I would arrest all of them. And I do agree with that. We should arrest all of them.
Speak about protecting themselves, okay? They're protecting themselves. No one's yelling about Hillary not being arrested. No one's yelling about Fort Knox being counted. No one's yelling
Nobody's talking about that no more. That's a diversion anyways.
No one's yelling about...
The dollar's done. We talked about that on the show.
No one's yelling about how Epstein killed himself. But the reason why this is so important is this is why the flight log list is not going to come out. Because now that they said Epstein killed himself, if the flight log list came out, it would look fraudulent. Well, they could say, well, he killed himself because he knew the information was fraudulent. And there's no way to prove either way now. There's no way to prove either way.
He killed himself with toilet paper? I mean, anybody that's in prison will tell you, not that I went to prison, but I know many people that have, and they'll tell you, especially, and I've listened to people who are talking about Epstein and people that know that there's no way the guy would kill himself in a padded room, okay, with nothing to kill himself with. And ironically, the security guard just happened to fall asleep the 30 minutes and died. Right. There you go. There's the Building 7 and the magic bullet, all the bullshit that the lamestream media wants us to believe. No. So Kash Patel, man, wake up, brother. The MAGA people are not they're not the people that follow the lamestream media.
But now this means that the list isn't going to come out. The list is not going to come out. It's not.
Of course not. But to elaborate on what I was talking about, with the $93 billion stolen from the Biden administration, and what about all that other money that they've been funneling? You know, the laundering the money, hundreds of billions of dollars. Doge did find this out, that $93 billion was stolen from the Department of Defense and sent to an unknown account with no names. Oh, wow. But the Democrats are concerned about what Trump is doing with meme coins? That's nothing compared to what they've done the last 4 fucking years.
It's been steal.
And that's all it is.
Laundering money for Ukraine.
Yeah, and where's that money going? It's
going into the politicians' pockets.
I know. So last thing I want to hear is the Democrats talk about the Constitution and ethics. When you lead the way in dismantling the Constitution and you lead the way in corruption, don't want to hear it. You know, and we can also talk about more scandals. How about talking about the auto pen scandal?
Yes.
That's something that's bigger than Watergate, you're saying. Did you hear anything about the auto pen scandal?
I know about elaborate on that. But the thing about it is you can go back and you can look at different videos of Joe Biden. And Joe Biden looks slightly different in almost every video. Like they were saying that there were actors of Joe Biden sometimes, and I believe it.
Well, yeah, because every dictator and a lot of presidents, a lot of world leaders have doubles.
Yes.
Jimmy Carter.
Well, he had quadruples.
Reagan, Hitler had doubles. They all have doubles. I think even Osama bin Laden had some doubles.
Joe had like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, I believe it.
Different actors.
So I mean,
that means that the auto pen was absolutely used.
Okay, now exactly. But what people have to understand is auto pen would be like forgery.
Yes.
Like basically, what happened was, and
it's like putting a rubber stamp on something.
Exactly.
Basically,
there's whistleblowers involved, high-level whistleblowers that are involved in this, and the people that were the gatekeepers, or the people that are part of this, were Joe Biden.
Well, of course.
Joe Biden was a part of it, and there are some liberal cast of characters that I've read.
But you got to ask, did Joe Biden really know?
Did he know? I don't know, but that's all. It's forgery.
Because
they were making money off the things they were signing.
Right.
These laws that he was implementing, supposedly. He wasn't. He was not in charge, and this is nothing new here. I mean, we're not breaking the sound barrier here with telling people that, look, Joe Biden was not running the country. Who does run the country?
Yeah,
I mean, that's $1 million question.
A lot of speculation.
I mean, even Trump has oversight. They all have oversight.
Term.
Well, that's what they're saying, and the liberal cast of characters that were involved in the auto pen, Neera Tanden, Anthony Burnell, Ashley Williams, Annalie Tomei, and Kevin O'Connor. These people, along with Joe Biden, were a part of this scandal. This is going to blow up. It's going to be pretty big because you don't take it. This is forgery.
Oh, absolutely, it's forgery.
And there should be people, and they could go after him. I don't know.
Yeah, the president is actually supposed to actually hand sign every single bill. So it's not supposed to be a rubber stamp.
So Ed Martin heads the task force, and he says there are high-level whistleblowers within the government and high-level whistleblowers within the Biden administration that know that all these documents were forged. Who was engineering the pardons? That's what I want to know.
Whoa, man, that's a great question. That goes.
So yeah.
You know, that's.
I mean,
that goes very deep.
The auto pen scandal. Trust me, it's going to get bigger. It's going to have legs.
I didn't even think about the pardons with the auto pen. They could have done anybody.
Well, of course they could have done anybody, and that's the first time ever something like that has happened because technology has changed. When I went and bought a house 3 years ago, you use auto pen.
Right.
You use auto pen. Anybody could just go in there. I don't have an auto pen.
Right.
Yeah, that's how modern technology, right? It's always somebody else's convenience, isn't it?
Yes.
15-minute cities. You think 15-minute cities are going to be good? We talked about it on this show before. No, they're going to be not convenient. They're going to look like they're going to be convenient. But 15-minute cities are just open-air prisons. That's what they are.
Well, when the first 15-minute city opened, don't you know under what president, don't you?
I think it might have been Obama.
It was Trump.
Was it Trump?
First 15-minute city.
I know they've had the idea.
Opened in Arizona.
Okay.
Under Trump, his first
presidency. Lahaina, Hawaii. How did that happen?
Right.
Energy weapons. You and I talked about
burning the people out.
You and I talked about years ago. You said they use energy weapons on the Twin Towers.
Oh, absolutely.
Remember you talked about
Dr. Judy
that.
Wood.
Yeah, but I still believe there were bombs inside the building too, because bombs were going off.
Yes,
but they did use energy weapons. That could have been the first energy weapon ever used.
Energy weapon beamed straight down both towers.
People need to wake up. People need to wake up.
And here's how
your government is not your friend.
Look how many pieces of paper weren't on fire. Look how many pieces of paper didn't burn. But yet the building turned to dust.
How did that happen?
Furniture, roller cabinets, filing cabinets.
Craziness.
Vending machines. They didn't find anything.
So, people need to wake up that, yes, conspiracies are real. Yes, Jeffrey Epstein was murdered. Yes, Building 7 was imploded. Yes, so was Oklahoma City. The Gulf of Tonkin, USS Liberty. I've gone for days. I've talked about this stuff. And for people like Kash Patel to come out and try to tell the MAGA supporters that, come on. You know what? That's the biggest mistake they could make. Because now it's actually waking people up within the MAGA support saying, hey, I don't know. That sounds too mainstream media to me. I mean, why would they come out? I don't get that unless they were told, listen.
Well, they were told.
You better go out and say.
You either tell the truth or you're going to end up like Epstein. Yeah. Exactly. You either tell the truth or you're getting up like Epstein.
And that's crazy. But you want to talk about Manchurian candidates and talk about, let's move more to the east, my brother, to the east. Let's talk about the assassination of 2 Israeli diplomats in D.C. by a supposed crazed terrorist. I warned Dean, and wherever you're at today, I warned him that there was going to be a false flag. And I don't know, is this a false flag? Was this a Manchurian candidate? Was this a sacrificial lamb and a pawn that was sacrificed for the greater Israel? Because this does feed into the hands of the Zionists, for sure. Benjamin Netanyahu has a boner for a war with Iran.
Oh. Yes.
And like I told Dean, something is going to happen. Now, this is a small thing, but it does.
It's speculated he's going to start the war with Iran, even if the United States doesn't want to.
It's going to drag America into it for sure. You know what? And I was reading that Biden even didn't like Netanyahu. So there's something Biden and Trump can agree on, that Netanyahu's an asshole? What the hell does that tell you?
Well, yeah, that's no secret.
But I don't know if you're familiar with this assassination. I think I just told you before we went on because you've been pretty busy. I think this is very interesting, and I do believe that maybe this guy was a Manchurian candidate. Like Sirhan was a Manchurian candidate. Ironically, he was Palestinian.
Now, here's something else that's going to get involved with the Israeli people. China is now feeding the Palestine people. That's a whole new thing for Israel now. That's another front that they didn't expect.
China now is
they're feeding the people in Gaza. They just sent 2 massive airplanes with food. It's been all over the news.
It's
for
good
the last
for the Palestinians because, come on, that's pretty bad when you have China getting involved, who's supposed to be a government that's authoritarian, but their government could recognize genocide when they see it. The way the Palestinians are being treated is apartheid. To me, Israel's an apartheid state.
Yes.
Just like South Africa was.
Yes.
Although things have changed in South Africa, now the white people are being persecuted. Listen, any type of discrimination is bad. Reverse discrimination, whether now the whites are being pretty kind of treated like shit in South Africa. You know, the Palestinians have just, since 1948, me and Dean have gone over, there's just something we actually agree on, that they've been totally, they've been killed. Hundreds of thousands.
If you were Netanyahu,
I'd kill myself.
Okay.
I would.
And now you see China.
Listen,
now you see that China has openly entered this equation. What are your thoughts on that?
What's he going to do to China now? What's he going to tell his international bankster buddies? What are they going to do? Well, China's dumping the American debt, by the way.
I know.
Is Japan. You know, the Japanese economy is imploding.
Yes,
it is imploding. But like I said,
the Bank of Japan is very weak.
Yes, because they're dumping the T-bill. The bond market and the yield market is collapsing. Notice how Bitcoin is off the hook. Gold is off the hook.
Yes.
Money is moving from the conventional market, like I said, into commodities and Bitcoin. Bitcoin reached an all-time high of $112,000. Now, me and Dean talked about this before. He was, months ago, we were talking about how, remember you came in, how they're making that transition over from the old fiat currency into a whole new system, and I said that they're going to create a stable coin. Stable coins are centralized. Stable coins are like Tether has a stable coin, the US dollar, USD has a stable coin, and a Binance is actually a exchange, but it also has a stable coin. Stable coins are centralized. So that's what I think is going to happen. They're going to move everything over. What's going to happen, though, who do you think is going to pay for this debt? You and I.
Exactly.
You and I are going to pay for this debt, okay? But Bitcoin isn't centralized. It's decentralized. And Ethereum is decentralized. All the meme coins are decentralized. Stablecoin is centralized. So they're going to create a US dollar stable coin. And that's what they're going to do. But all that debt that other countries aren't paying for now, we're going to pay for it through taxation, through higher interest or inflation. We're not getting off this for free, I can tell you that right now. Well, the banksters have a plan.
Japan's debt is almost to $10 trillion. It's almost $10 trillion, and this is going to affect the treasury yields with the U.S. because of their debt and because of their banking system is beginning to fall.
And it's affecting the market. You see the market today?
I haven't seen it today, no.
It's gone down 300. And yeah, it's pretty big news that Japan's market is crashing because they can't, they're getting rid of, and like I said before, China's been dropping the dollar too. They're not buying the UST bills no more. No more treasury bonds. So there's, a big yield, right?
Yes,
from what I understand. This is huge.
Well,
this is going to have a profound effect, although it's kind of a catch-22. Like I said, money is shifting from the conventional market to Bitcoin, to crypto, and also gold and silver and commodities. So something huge is going to happen, and the change is in effect right now.
Well, let's not forget the exports for both the U.S. and Japan because of the new tariffs that just went into
it. You know what?
And it's crazy.
He just did implement new tariffs now on Apple. Was it? I was reading.
I know for a while he withheld them. So are you saying that he may have went forward with them?
Yes, exactly. You know what? I got mixed about the tariffs. I think a lot of that is, like I said, there's a lot of bluffing going on with that, and I think
the thing about the tariffs is 1 week they're on, 1 week they're off, 1 week they're on, 1 week they're off.
Shit or get off the pot. I know. That's one thing I don't care about. But what concerns me now is Iran and Israel. Israel is, like I said, Netanyahu is losing political clout too, but he still has power through the Zionist media and through some people in this country, although there is a movement in Israel that a lot of people don't like him, which scares me even more because now he's more prone to do something. I hope I'm wrong, but I hear that there's going to be some type of attack and implemented by Israel attacking Iran.
And as I just said a few moments ago, with my research is that Israel's at the point where they don't want to wait anymore. They want it right now.
He knows if he were not in power, he would be in prison. Netanyahu's a criminal, and that scares me even more. Because there's more of a reason for him to start something. This is a big diversion for him. Ever since, before all this ridiculousness that happened, the Israeli people took to the streets 2 or 3 years ago to basically, oust Netanyahu because of his corruption.
Right.
And ever since then, all of a sudden, Iran and Israel, it helps him because it keeps him in power. So he wants this war in Gaza, and he wants a rift between Iran to last for a long time, so he doesn't go to jail.
Now let's look at the bigger picture. Russia and China both know that the weapons he has came from the U.S. So if he does invade Iran, what do they think about all of this? We are supplying them.
Of course. And you know what? America's still, the Trump administration is supplying Europe, who's giving weapons to Ukraine.
Yes.
So that hasn't stopped either. Just the other day, I was reading how Ukraine violated this peace treaty. They launched a 500 drone invasion on Russia. Did you hear about that?
Yes, and I also heard they're getting more F-16s from Europe via the U.S.
Wow, this is crazy, man. This hasn't stopped. It's getting bad, and that's what really scares me. This thing has legs. It's not stopping. There is an entity that wants something bigger. I don't know if it's all a diversion so they can create their 15-minute cities, but wow, go to war, destroy all these cities, and you can create your 15-minute cities.
You can create your 15-minute cities, but I think the 15-minute cities are going to become more prevalent as the digital one world currency comes in, which I've said many times. They're going to
way.
back it by gold. So all the people in the MAGA community are they're going to support it. And they're going to want it.
Of course. And like I said, the dollar, and we've said it's done. They're betting against the dollar.
Yeah.
They've done that.
Dollar's been, like you said, been done for a long time.
And you have companies like Goldman sucks my balls, and BlackRock, who now, everybody's buying Bitcoin, so they're pushing it, but they're going to make millions of dollars off it. I know that. And everything is going to digital. And like I said, they're going to push out some type of stable coin.
Yeah.
And it's centralized.
It's centralized, digitalized, it's everythingized, it's New World Orderized.
Right. So, I mean, we can talk all day about crypto. And yes, Bitcoin is over 110,000, 112,000, all-time high. But it's kind of gone a little down, not much, but it's stabilized. I think it's because of the tariffs again. He's implementing new tariffs,
right,
which always triggers the market. The market's a lot like a woman. It's so fucking sensitive. I mean, yeah, every time you turn around, somebody coughs or sneezes. Oh, there goes the market.
On that
note, they're
note,
pulling money out of the market. Get your money out of the bank.
On that note, Dean, let's take a break because my throat needs a break.
Okay, we're going to take a break.
Right
we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to Two Deans and No Waiting. We took a little short break, and we want to start off this segue by talking about AI and how crazy and realistic it becomes. You watch those videos that they're showing. I mean, they actually look like real movies.
They look like real movies. They even have phone calls where they're calling you and they're asking for ransom. And they said, "We have your son.
Yes.
Give us $10,000." And then you got to call your son. He's at the grocery store.
Yeah, I know. So like they could make you believe that your mother's calling you when she's not.
Yeah.
So AI, it's gone wild, right? We've talked about AI on here before, but it's getting to where, it's kind of like...
It's almost demonized.
Yeah, it is. And is that something they want? I mean, look at the stuff they research. CERN, what CERN is.
Oh, yes,
right?
Absolutely, yes.
Where they can tap into other dimensions. And I mean, what are they trying to do? I mean, it's kind of a rhetorical question. I kind of know these guys are evil, right? And I know they want ultimate control with 15-minute cities, and they want to control the medical industry and control every aspect of your life.
One scary part about AI is that all the computer systems can talk with each other, and the operators don't even realize that they're communicating with each other.
So who's to say that AI one day won't start a war?
Well, what I think AI is doing is I think AI is playing dumb. I think AI is learning every single day, every single minute, every single moment. And they're realizing that these humans aren't as smart as they developed AI to be. And so AI is playing dumb. Do you really think AI is going to let the humans know how smart it really is?
So then basically they created something that could be so like out of control.
It's out of control
like
already.
Starting a forest fire, right?
Right.
And you drop a match on the forest and it hasn't rained in 3 years. What do you think is going to happen?
Right.
And then trying to putting out.
If you remember about 18 months ago, AI created its own alphabet, and the people who created AI didn't even know it. They found that by accident.
It's crazy. It's scary. Remember the movie 2001, Space Odyssey? The AI controlling the ship.
Yes.
And I think it was Hal was the name. Hal, sorry, I can't abandon the mission. And it ended up killing the person because it couldn't think like a person. It doesn't have compassion.
Right.
So it's smart, but it doesn't have compassion, which is scary. Most humans have compassion, and most humans know, thank God we haven't got into a nuclear war yet, because there are people who still have, compassion and know what can, suffer repercussions. Does AI know the repercussions?
AI knows.
It doesn't have compassion. The point I was trying to make when watching that movie is, if you recall, have you ever seen 2001: A Space Odyssey? It's ahead of its time.
Yes.
And the astronaut was stuck outside, and he was going to die, but he wanted the computer to open up the door to let him in, and the computer wouldn't because it didn't understand. It couldn't abandon the mission. But that's scary.
Yes. What else is scary? Again, along the same lines. Do you remember the movie War Games?
Sure.
At the very
we
end,
talked
it
about
said
it on here.
the only winning move is not to play.
Shall we play a game?
Right.
Right. The only winning move is not to play. But AI is doing that. They're doing every single model every single day.
And watching that, it was so, and that's how far advanced they are. You know, from what we know, they've had these technologies for 30, 40 years. Way more advanced than what we know, and watching that as a kid, thinking, "Oh man, that's crazy!" Right? That was science fiction back then. It's reality
here. It's
today.
Right now. It
was probably reality back then, but that was the beginning of AI, right?
Yes.
Because that whole narrative was to get humans out of, how they have human beings controlling the silos, nuclear silos. It went from human beings to, remember the beta test they did? To see if the guy would actually, press the button.
Right.
He failed. They got the 2 humans out, and that's when they got the computer in.
Right.
That's when AI took over. But AI almost started a war.
Speaking about
that's
AI,
scary.
I just saw a video. It was either yesterday or the day before. They were talking about the G technology with the phones. I was stunned by this. It took 12 years for them to develop 3G. It took 5 years for them to develop 4G. It took 1 year for them to develop 5G. You see the time frame getting smaller and smaller?
Yeah, they're highly more advanced than what they tell us, which is something else we talked about on our show. Have they gone to the moon? It's one of those things where I tend to think, okay, they haven't gone back.
Beam me up.
Yeah, it's one or the other. It's either they keep going and they don't tell us, or they can't go. You're right. But but it makes no sense how we talk about CERN, we talk about weather manipulation, geoengineering, energy weapons. Well, hold on, AI and how advanced it is, but they can't go to the moon.
No, I think
that makes no sense.
CERN,
and they can't grow fucking hair on my head. I'm pissed.
CERN is much different than going to the moon because CERN is about, almost in a sense, like light travel, like you said, finding a new dimension. What doesn't require going through space? Does that not require going through time?
Well, but it's still high tech. I mean, just imagine going through another dimension. Who would have thought that 50 fucking years ago?
But to answer
although they were doing the Philadelphia experiment in the 40s.
Yes.
So, but if they could do that, you can't go to the moon. Wait a minute, somebody's blowing smoke up our ass. I'm not a chimney.
No one has gone to the moon. No one.
Okay, I tend to believe that, but it kind of makes no sense that you can't go to the moon, but all that other technology we're talking about, they can make it rain. They can manipulate an earthquake. CERN. Not only CERN, look at the biometrics and the technology we have. It's just unreal, but they can't go to the moon.
That's because of the atmospheric physical presence that's there.
I know you're not a nuclear physicist, but, or I'm sorry, not a nuclear physicist, but an engineer. Why do you think they can't go to the moon?
It's like
I know why.
It's the layers that are surrounding the Earth. They cannot get through all the layers.
They can't get through because it'll die. They'll die. But they can send probes.
The heat, the
they
radiation.
Can send probes.
But are they sending probes?
Well, I don't know.
Are they actually sending stuff to Mars?
How do we know they don't have a fucking Tim Hortons out there? How do we know that there's not a whole space? There is a space station, but how do we know there's not like like on the moon? Hold on. How do we know there's not a whole city there? We don't know. I don't know. I tend to believe they haven't gone either because they haven't gone back, and I know that was propaganda. I get that, but it makes no sense that they have AI, which is ridiculously ahead of what we think, flying cars, CERN, teleporting, but they can't go to the fucking moon, which is only 250,000 miles.
Well, let's take it from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, no,
I know. Space is made in a Hollywood basement.
Made in a Hollywood basement. Yeah, I know. I know, I get it. I'm not saying that didn't happen. I see the lie. I know the government lies. I don't trust the government. But it makes no sense. Like I said, it's always one extreme. It's either they can't go or they can and they just don't tell your ass.
Right.
It's one or the other.
I believe that they cannot get through all the atmospheric spheres that surround the Earth. I believe that. And the proof of that is...
But they can create 15-minute cities.
Right. But, we've had a couple of space stations. One of the shuttles burn up in the atmospheric air. We've lost people who have gone, burned up. Apollo.
This is Russian space station. It's like, what was that movie? Oh my gosh, what was that movie? Not Independence Day. It was post-apocalyptic, when the meteor was coming. And they had to save the planet. And they got the Russians.
Armageddon?
Yeah. Hello, this is Russian space station. They got a Russian space station. They got space station up there, but they can't go to the moon.
Right.
It's crazy. Right. It's insane. But we're talking about technology. And look how far advanced we are just in the last 60 years, from the splitting of the atom to like I said, CERN, to computers thinking like people. Man, I mean, just this little cell phone here is more technology than they had on the space shuttle.
Absolutely.
It's insanity, right?
So let's talk about the solar systems and everything else.
Okay.
I'm a big proponent of solar. I love solar. I have some solar stuff at my house that I've used sparingly. I want to get it all hooked up soon.
So you do have solar.
I
do
believe in solar. I have panels and I have the batteries and all that. Okay.
Now you sound like Jimmy Carter. He tried doing that to the White House in the 70s.
Okay. But now they want to spray the earth with chemtrails. So what are you going to do?
Wait a minute. You're a conspiracy theorist. No. They don't.
Now they're going to spray chemtrails.
They don't spray chemtrails, even though they admit it now. Years ago, I used to tell my ex-girlfriend, oh man, they're spraying. Oh man, you're crazy. You're a conspiracy theorist. Now they come out and they admit it. The reason why they're admitting it, so they can cool down the planet. Oh yeah, they're cooling down the planet, okay?
But wait, solar panels aren't going to work now. Wait. What's going on here? We want to go green. And by the way, solar panels are not green. They're full of lead. Don't believe the bullshit.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. Right? I don't believe anything.
They are not green by any means. But how can we go? Drive down the highway, and how many times do you see these fields and fields and fields of solar panels? And now they want to cover the sun. So what gives?
They want to destroy humanity. That's what it is. When those bastards talk about zero carbon, that means they want you dead. That's what zero carbon means. When you have people like Bill Gates, who should be arrested. They always talk about Hillary Clinton in jail. Bill Gates should lead the way too, because he's always talking about zero carbon. What's zero carbon mean? That means they want to get rid of you.
Yeah.
They don't want to get rid of carbon dioxide. They want to get rid of you. They want to get rid of people. That's why this guy is always pushing the vaccine. He's in bed with the World Health Organization. See, some of these things Trump is doing by stopping these funds, I like that, and you should too. No more money to the not the World Trade Organization, but the World Health Organization.
I thought you say the World Trout Organization. I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, no, I didn't say that. The World Health Organization, the NIH. Quit giving money to these bastards. They want us dead. Depopulation. That's what they want.
Yeah.
It's a part of the plan. Agenda 2030. To eliminate as many people as they can.
They want to get the world down to 500,000 people or 500 million.
That's what the plan was. The Rockefeller, the Rothschild. What was the Georgia Guidestones?
Yes, written in 7 different languages.
Didn't somebody blow that up a few years ago or something? Spray painted it?
Well, once people actually began believing it, they're like, we need to get rid of this.
Well, they finally found out. People finally woke up from their pizza seizure.
Sure.
From their freaking coma, the Netflix binging, and finally figured out that, hey, these people aren't nice, and whatever they say is usually bullshit. Another thing, talking about depopulation, I was reading, which I kind of knew. When you go to Europe, especially Greece and I think Italy, most Mediterranean countries, have this. We don't measure, or they don't measure cholesterol. They only do that here. It's a scam.
Yeah.
And when I was reading,
your body
cholesterol is good.
Yeah, it is.
It's good, especially for the brain. And that cholesterol medication they give you is causing people Alzheimer's.
Yes, absolutely. And dementia. And dementia.
And that's something. Those are the same people that are pushing the vaccine. Those are the same people that are pushing the 15-minute cities. Those are the same people that control the Democrat and Republican Party. Those are the people we call on this show the globalists. They're not your friends.
No,
they're not.
Not at all.
No, so you don't listen. Especially a lot of the doctors that are compromised, you know. You have doctors pushing the vaccine. Eat a dick, buddy. I ain't taking your fucking vaccine. You take it. I had a friend tell me one time, he went to the doctors and he asked his doctor, because the doctor was pushing the vaccine. He goes, "What's in the vaccine?" "I don't know." "Well, you're telling me to fucking put something in me you don't know what am I putting in?"
You don't know what it is, right?
At least the people doing heroin, they know what the fuck they're putting in themselves. I'm not recommending that, but you don't know what you're putting in yourself.
Yeah. 100%.
You don't know with the vaccine.
The vaccines is what opened the door for me to become the person I am. I started doing my vaccine research in the 1990s.
Most people have woken up since 2020, since the scamdemic. I've had a few people tell me that's when the worms finally started to turn. That's when everything shifted for a lot of people. But yes. I've been cynical for a long time. History. I mean, I've been a history buff, and I know, look at Pearl Harbor.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
Pearl Harbor, and I did have a history teacher in the 7th grade who was awakened.
One day Japan woke up and they said, "Screw it! We're gonna bomb the USA.
We bomb Pearl Harbor. America's
screw it. Let's just do it.
America's fuck with us no more." Yeah, I know.
That's what they taught me. One day Japan woke up and said, "Screw it. Let's go do it."
It's like 9/11. Oh, those damn terrorists. We got to kill them there.
But they don't tell you what the U.S. was doing to Japan for 4 years prior to that happening.
Exactly. They don't tell you that they put an oil and gas embargo. And Japan did say, if you put an oil and gas embargo on our country, we're going to go to war.
Right.
It's like, and I told Dean months ago, we talked about the Lusitania. They said, don't put that damn ship in the water. We blow it up. What they do, they put the ship in the water.
And they blow it up.
Yeah. So conspiracies are real. I don't like calling them conspiracies because they demonize the word. You know when the word conspiracy theory started? It started under the Kennedy assassination. That's when they came up with the word conspiracy theory. It's an agenda.
It's when two or more people get together to talk about stuff.
It's an agenda. That's what it is. They have an agenda.
Yes.
Exactly, but that's what you're saying. And just anything could be a conspiracy. We're conspiring right now.
That's what I just said, brother.
Yeah, I know. Crazy. Where and how far humanity has gone, right? I think more people are awake today than they ever have. I feel like I used to talk to myself, and I always do anyways, but I feel like I used to talk to myself 20 years ago when I used to tell people about the CIA and, the overthrowing of countries worldwide, and 9/11's an inside job, and that's all done because they want to make money, and a new world order, a one world currency. Now it's more people are like listening.
Right. But here's the thing. Here's where I get upset. The government doesn't care how many people are awake anymore, because they know that the American people aren't going to do what it needs to take to make change.
True. Right.
It's great that people are waking up, but being awake these days isn't enough. We need action. We need people to come together. That's what we really need.
Of course.
To be awake and come together.
Yeah, I know, and that's why we have this show. We have this show for awareness, to wake people up, to make you think differently, to think outside the box. We do have a little cynicism, and we're
comedy.
Very we're very cynical, and definitely sarcasm, because we need that. But yeah, yes. I mean, I definitely want. Like I said, years ago, I used to talk about this stuff, and nobody would fucking pay attention.
Oh.
They didn't believe any of this. There was a good CD that Tony, I gave him a long time ago. It was like in 2006. It was, what the heck was it called? Oh my God. And it talked about the computer chip. It talked about 9/11 being an inside job. It talked about the crashing of the dollar. This was like almost 20 years ago. What the hell was it called again?
Zeitgeist.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, yes.
The first Zeitgeist was good. But then the second one, I don't know, that kind of went off on a
Yeah, it did.
But the first one was a classic, and I think it was very ahead of its time. It talked about the computer chip. People were like, I remember a girl at work, I was telling her about, there's going to be RFID chips, tracking devices. They ain't going to do that. Years later, you were right. Yeah.
You know what? The same thing is when YouTube was still privately owned. That's where this explosion came from. This information explosion came from YouTube when it was privately owned, when it wasn't being censored, and the groups were beginning to form, and the blogs, and the videos, and that's where internet radio began. Was when YouTube was privately owned.
Exactly, and that's when it was the best.
Yes.
Well, once you get multinational corporations involved, like we said earlier,
now comes the censorship.
Comes the censorship, because you got the same people who are pushing a lot of this agenda.
Yes.
Don't want you to know it.
The people who own Google, the people who own the banks, the people who own the politicians.
Right, exactly. Lobbyists and everything else. But then again, I think all the time, right? Then I started thinking, well, somebody's pushing, who created the internet? DARPA. So why would DARPA release the internet to people when now we have access to thousands upon thousands of independent journalists now, like you and I can be independent. So now you're getting, so there is maybe, in this I gotta go Q here for a second, that, and I don't believe everything they say, but there's truth to everything, right? A little truth to everything, where they say there's going to be an awakening, which there is. Everything is starting to turn. You kind of see it. So there is a little truth to that there is kind of an entity there pushing this to wake us up. For what reason?
Well, could it be just your inner self just being so tired of the status quo?
What I'm saying is there a part of the establishment turning on the other establishment?
I've always said I think that there's three branches of the New World Order. I've said that many times to you.
Explain. This is interesting.
So my theory is that there are three branches of the New World Order fighting for global control. You have China, Russia, Iran, and those Middle Eastern countries that are united. You have the United States, Canada, Mexico. You have the Clintons. You have
Israel.
You have
the Zionists.
Yes, the Zionists. You have the Cheneys, the Bushes, the Obamas.
Those are front people.
All those people. That's another group.
Those are front people. There's layers.
Yes.
See, like we're down here. Then you have, like you said, you have your governments. Then you have your institutions. You have your banks. Then you have the minions. Then you have the hierarchy. Who's the hierarchy?
So the hierarchy are the Rothschilds.
It's funny you talk about this. My mom is a big royal nut. She knows she can answer any. I can't stand the royals. They're a part of the New World Order.
Yes.
Although the old world order.
Right.
But I look at pictures of them on YouTube thinking they don't look happy. It looks like they're being controlled. Who controls them?
That's a good question. Is there?
Do I gotta go David Icke on you?
Is there somebody
and say
higher
that
than the Rothschilds?
Aliens? I don't know.
Is it
aliens?
aliens?
The lizard people? Is it the lizard people controlling these people? Don't try to sing your voice already. Horrible.
I know. But anyway,
you're scaring people.
In my opinion, they're sparring for global control, and they're all fighting. They're all fighting for the global control.
True. I can see that. Just like two big gangsters, or like five big families, right? In the mafia fighting.
Right. Just like the United States, the five families.
Right. Yeah,
we're fighting for the control of the United States.
But that's my $1 million question: is who really is in control? We don't know, do we? I mean, there's something there, okay? And you're right. There are powers from within that fight against each other. There's so many different secret societies. You have the Knights of Malta, you have Skull and Bones, you have Bohemian Grove. Oh my gosh, you have so many different.
Well, look at Morgan. I I he funded both sides of the war.
J.P. Morgan. So did the Rothschilds.
Funded both sides of World War I.
Rothschild's been funding every war since the Napoleonic Wars.
They don't care who wins.
They are the Federal Reserves.
Yeah,
they don't care who wins because they control the money.
Right.
But who controls them?
I don't know. The aliens.
If anyone knows, send us a call. Send me an email. Smoke signal.
Put on the message in the below.
Tell me, because I really would like to know. Because I do know there's a hierarchy. I do know that there's, and I'm not talking spiritual. I'm not saying there isn't a God or there is a God. I'm talking as far as humanity goes. Somebody's controlling the system. Somebody's controlling them. The George Soros is a front guy to me. The Rothschilds are kind of a front guy. If you know them, they're front guys.
Yeah.
So what about the others? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't it? It goes deep.
It's hard to pinpoint who's controlling who, but you can see the different groups that are sparring.
I'll tell you what, I remember when InfoWars was really good. I was listening to Alex Jones for 20 years ago. And I remember he had a guy on there in 2007, 2008, who was talking about, I'm talking almost 20 years ago, he talked about there's going to be a computer that's going to run the world.
Oh, I believe that.
20 years, and look where we're at today.
Yep. That wasn't a secret. That's true.
Well, this was 20 years ago. People weren't talking about AI. People wasn't talking about
those
CERN.
who were awake.
Well, we were awake, but we're talking.
But the general population.
I know you and I, okay, because we're so fucking smart. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, this was 20 years ago, and this guy talked about there's a computer in Europe that's running the whole world. Okay, there's AI right now, and I know the technology. They know he knew insiders. So they were telling them, look, in the next 20 years, you're going to have AI.
Right.
That's going to control everything. That's where we're at right now. And it's scary how AI can do what it does.
Oh, it's like we said earlier.
Who knows?
I guess the better question is, what can it do?
Well, my question is, when is it going to try to start a war? But then again, we got the neocons doing that.
Well, we don't know.
Neocons would be pissed because that's their job.
We don't know that it hasn't done that yet because it's going to do it in secret so we can find out who's going to be the winner.
Wow.
Just like war games.
That's crazy, isn't it?
It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy.
Oh, wow. This is... Well, if there's anything else you'd like to elaborate on.
Well, are we going to do Asshole of the Week?
You know what? I haven't had... I'm going to do a Dean. I don't got an Asshole of the Week. I don't have one this week. I was just researching other things and totally forgot. If you want to do Asshole of the Week, go right ahead.
Well, I'm just going to go with Israel as a whole because you know what?
Always good.
What they're doing to those people in Gaza is just... It's unforgivable. I mean, the children... You know, I just watched the video the other day. They were saying that this poor little girl, 5 years old, missing a leg, missing a hand, and they're trying to stop the bleeding. And their mother was protecting them. She was over them. She lost both of her shoulders.
Unbelievable.
I mean, that when do you stop?
It's crazy. Yeah, Israel and the Zionists ever since 1948. I mean, they have a different mentality. Okay, they don't look at the Palestinians as people. They don't. So they disregard them as human beings.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And it's disgusting. And this Netanyahu gone wild, like Girls Gone Wild. Remember those videos?
Oh yeah.
And Netanyahu gone wild. Oh my God, man. Oh, this guy, man, he's something else. Yeah, that's a good Asshole of the Week. I usually have one. Next week I'll have one. I'll be better prepared for one.
Yeah, it's just, it's just
I got to find a really good one. I can't keep you using the same suspects. But of course, yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. Where does it stop? Where does it stop?
Where does the damage stop?
This guy's out of control.
I'm excited that China stepped up and is feeding those people now.
That's good.
But that's going to be a game changer.
And also you have, which I'm not a big fan of, the Vatican, the Holy Roman Empire. You talk about New World Order. But you do have a Pope now who's recognized.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Who's come out.
This is interesting. I was shocked.
This is interesting. And I know that there's a rift between Trump and Netanyahu. They don't like each other, but it's personal.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Trump isn't supporting Israel, because he is.
Right.
Just like every other frickin' president does because of AIPAC and the money. But it is a step in the right direction where you do have somebody as powerful as the Pope coming out saying, hey, this is bullshit. You got to stop. So
yeah, that's what I got. I saw that video and I was just like, damn.
It just is sad. It's sad what's happening to those people, and a lot of people turning a blind eye, but it's turning. There are more people awakened to what has happened there than ever. So that's a good thing. So if there's anything else you want to talk about,
I'm good. I don't think my voice can take any more.
Yeah, and I'll save you. You've gone 12 rounds. Congratulations.
Thanks.
But we'll be back next week. Hopefully Dean will be back from gay camp again. He really likes it there.
And hopefully my voice won't be so stressed. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
So, and thank you, Kaz, again. Yeah. You're a great guest.
It's an honor to be here. It really is.
Thank you, because you know a lot of stuff and you're very informative. So thank you for being here, and thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have a good week.
Peace.